Good. What's going on YouTube? Before we jump into today's episode, I'm taking you guys on a special tour of Americana Manhasset. Basically, if you have a lot of Bitcoin, you can buy a lot of stuff here. It's basically the wealthiest of the wealth on the Gold Coast of Long Island, and I thought I'd show you guys what that looks like.
Actually,
Show me the bottom.
I am cool with them. I just want to see the baby. I want to see it. Those diamonds are cool. It's not cold though.
No, it was a little bit.
Is it? I'm gonna say it. I don't know. That's
What's going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's episode, we will be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XLM to BTC. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up if you like the content. Otherwise, we will also be discussing two things in the episode today. We will be looking at Bitcoin being undervalued, Litecoin being undervalued, and seeing that individuals building on it will lead to a potential recovery within the market and as crypto as a whole. Also, what people don't realize is even in a crypto winter that we've seen with such a bear market and really not seeing any growth, at least with the price within cryptocurrency and Litecoin and Bitcoin, the Bitcoin subreddit has grown about 61% in 2018. So even with the bear market that we've had, there's still a lot of hype behind cryptocurrency that we're not really talking about or that the general public doesn't really see. So this does give us an indication that in newer time or the next time the bulls start to take off, we may see the market jump significantly higher than we've seen previously over the past couple of months. So moving back on, hopefully you guys like that intro, that vlog. We were at Americana Manhasset on Long Island. Hopefully you guys are familiar with that. Basically a lot of cool cars, a lot of fancy cars. You know, one day we will all be there, and if I do, I'll show you guys it on the channel. Also, we are planning, as in Litecoin, to get involved in some other dealerships within Long Island, and like Lamborghini and Corvette, Ferrari, all those different ones. So that'd be pretty cool to potentially be able to buy a Lamborghini with Litecoin, and or even to rent one potentially at some exotic dealership. And if I do get that opportunity to do that, obviously I'll make a video and show you guys. But otherwise, moving on into today's episode, we're on the coin market cap, and as you guys can see, we have a market cap of 133.8 bill, a 24-hour volume of 16.6 billion, and a Bitcoin dominance of 51.6%. So there's a few things to take away from that. We're pretty much seeing consolidation all around the market. Bitcoin dominance really hasn't changed at all in the past day or two, so we're practically staying significantly similar. No real volatility in the past couple of days. Bitcoin down 24-hour volume has also decreased quite a bit at 16.6%. We were at around 20 yesterday, so we're seeing about 3.5 bill decrease from the market, as well as a market cap of 133, which is, I actually think, slightly higher than yesterday. We did see it slightly decrease, but we are starting to move back up. As you guys can see, that's kind of reflected within the coin market cap right now. Looking at the top 10 coins, Litecoin is still number 7, which is beautiful, up at 2.5%. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're having about 50-50. Half coins are up on the top 10 coins and half of them are down, but not really down by much, no more than like 2%. Bitcoin Cash down by 1.14, Stellar down by 0.03, 0.22, 1.97. Really not much of a difference, but in terms of how much we are gaining today, Bitcoin is only up by 0.5%, which isn't much, similar to XRP, 0.52. Ethereum is actually taking a pretty big jump up at 144, actually almost $145, which is awesome. And then we see Litecoin up at 33.20. You also see Stellar is also not moving at all, because we will be discussing where Stellar is in terms of the market. Now, shifting our focus now, I do have an article that I wanted to discuss with you guys. Basically, Bitcoin is undervalued, like I discussed, and we all know. Litecoin is also undervalued, and we are going to discuss whether or not we will lead to a recovery, in 2019. What will 2019 look like? So basically, over the last 48 hours, following a large loss on Christmas, the Bitcoin price has recovered back to $4,000. We dropped from like 4,000 all the way to like $3,300, a $700 loss. The dominant cryptocurrency, which still holds like the market valuation of over $64 billion, has demonstrated wild volatility in a wide price range of $3,100 to $4,300 throughout December, like I just said, struggling to recover from November levels. Last month, crypto markets was valued at around $220 billion. And as of December 28th, the valuation is $133 billion. So within 30-day span, we've lost about $87 billion in terms of the markets, the exchanges. So the key to the recovery of Litecoin and Bitcoin, according to Francis Poilot, the CEO and co-founder of the Bull Bitcoin, a company based in Canada, which is not too far from my college, actually, the asset will recover as individuals continue to build up on top of the protocol and infrastructure supporting currency strengthens. So throughout the past 9 years, Bitcoin has consistently survived major corrections, which on some occasions worse than the 2018 bear market, as the builders, developers, companies prepare to support the next wave of investors and users during the market downturn. So basically, to sum that up, make it a little bit easier for you guys to understand, the markets got hit pretty bad. And they're actually comparing this to previous times where Bitcoin has fallen, where Litecoin has fallen. And they're actually saying that Bitcoin didn't really fall as bad as we've seen in the past. So yes, there has been more mainstream media involved in 2018, which is nice to see that there's now more people aware of the coin, but we've seen greater falls in the past and we've recovered from them. As you guys can see, when we had a $500 Bitcoin and we fell all the way to like $200, that's a major drop, like almost 150% drop. And as you guys can see, we've done something similar, but we've shot up and corrected out from that. So it's very interesting to see that even with the hype behind it, there's still potential to grow. We're also seeing a lot of investors getting involved with it and building on top of the blockchain, software and technology. And the fact that they're not letting it go old or dry out is gives us a good idea that it's not going to go away. They're actually progressing and getting better with their technology. And the way he said it, he goes, the way I see the price of Bitcoin, there are fundamental psychological, economics, and social tenets that seem to create a similar pattern. Price rises fast, crashes down, but at a higher ladder. With the new skin in the game added as a value, hodlers is discovered by the market. As an investor, these focus on the tail of distribution of the Bitcoin network and the participants, the ecosystem within it, and new people active with the game, momentum, influence, resources, commitment, ideology, full node, sovereignty. It is people that give Bitcoin its value. So the fact that we are still using this coin, and maybe not necessarily Bitcoin itself, but the technology, the blockchain technology behind it, gives this potential to move up higher. Let's see. So yeah, a risk of future crash declines. Throughout the past 2 years, many cryptos focused on hedge funds have emerged with the intent of holding onto crypto assets as a long-term investment. In the long run, Poilot emphasizes that as these hedge funds acquire tens of thousands of Bitcoin, the circulating supply of the digital assets will decline, restricting the potential amount of Bitcoin investors could buy in the public market, therefore driving up the value of it, when they hold on to them. And that's very true too. When people, these hedge funds, the ETFs, Bitcoin-backed ETFs, come to the market and are actually released and people start buying into them, these big financial institutions, it's going to take out Bitcoins from the public eye. You're no longer going to be able to access those, therefore driving demand up, or, that's the plan. Demand should drive up due to the fact that we are now, taking these out of the market. So if we had 10 Bitcoins, we're now going to have 4 in there. And if the demand is still the same as it was for 10, these 4 Bitcoins are now going to be worth a lot more, similar to certain, items, gold, silver, certain things like that. Those also drive up in demand as we mine them all. Fossil fuels, gas, when we restrict it, but we still need it, it goes up in value. So another thing really quick, though, is we wanted to discuss, or really quick, Bitcoin subreddit grew 61% in 2018, even amid crypto winter. So we know what crypto winter is, basically the massive bear market that we've seen throughout 2017. Nobody was expecting it. Actually, there were a couple people were saying that it was going way too overbought and we needed to pull back down. But as reported on Ethereum World News, the subreddit, which hopefully you guys know what Reddit is. It's basically a forum to discuss things. It surpassed 1 million subscribers, joining an exclusive list of online forums that have surpassed such a user count. Upon this occurrence, a number of commenters came out to congratulate the community. So it just shows you guys that there's still, it grew by 380,000 people throughout, 2018, which is huge, 61% growth. The rate of new subscribers to the Bitcoin subreddit slowed considerably after the exchange rate dropped, but it still grew in size. 380,000 users is huge. Bitcoin ATMs have doubled in 2018. It said we've seen in a tweet issued just a day after the aforementioned LOP accentuated the fact that the number of Bitcoin-centric automated teller machines doubled in 2018 to now 4,000 all over. So that's also something to look at. Even though we are seeing the prices decrease, we're seeing more and more and more public use of things like that. We're getting it, the word out there. We're expressing what exactly Litecoin and crypto and Bitcoin is, and the fact that it's becoming so more easily accessible, it will most definitely drive the price and the demand up in the future. Moving though on to the TA part of today's episode, as you guys can see, looking at Litecoin right now on its 4-hour, a few things to note. We're currently at 58 on the relative strength indicator, and as you guys can see, we did fall quite a bit yesterday. Actually, that wasn't too long ago, 2 days ago. We actually shot up quite a bit yesterday and then came back down to retest the top of our our high-low MMA. We tested similar to the top of the red band, and we're actually pulling back up there. So it seems like we found a pretty good support. We did almost near bottom out yesterday and started to pull back up, and it seems like we're facing some sort of resistance right at around 32.40. On the short term of things, we do have a resistance back on December 21st that we made, and currently yesterday and today we're seeing that same resistance there. But I think if we consolidate out a little bit longer, we should build up enough volume to push us higher than that price. Looking at the daily for Litecoin, we're not really seeing much of a change. We did see this dip from yesterday. This was actually the 24th when we were at a high of 32. And then we fell back down to 27 and we pulled back up, and a small correction you can see right there. But a thing to note is we could actually move this down right here. There's a couple of areas we could look at right now, but you can see where the resistance lies right here. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit closer for you guys who are on mobile. And as you guys can see, there is a lot of resistance right here. You can see that this is a strong resistance ladder that we cannot break yet. So there's a good chance that in time, fairly soon, in the next week or so, we should hopefully build up enough support and volume to push us up above that and actually use 33 as a means of support rather than resistance. The biggest issue that I'm concerned with is the high-low MMA is actually creeping up on the price, and it's going to start pressing it downwards, which is not necessarily a good thing. With enough volume, we could blow right past that, but in the short term, I do think that's going to push down pretty darn hard on the price of currencies. So we may see it, flatline and consolidate out, trade sideways for the next couple of weeks. So it's going to be very interesting as to whether or not we're going to, break through this and get, kind of like a trap. So I'm just going to draw it really quick what I'm expecting to see. Some type of movement out here, followed by resistance up here at around $41. Now moving on to Bitcoin's chart, as you guys can see, there is some resistance that it's facing right now. You can see where we have bottomed out, touched for 39 $4,000 and shot up. It's a big mental barrier to $4,000. You can see we're currently facing that issue right now at around 4,000. So we're going to see whether or not we can hold this position and consolidate out. There's plenty of room so far on the relative strength indicator on the 4-hour. You know, at 60, there's still room to grow up. We become overbought at 70, so we're not necessarily there yet. We're above, you know, the high-low MMA, so we can use that as a support too. So we're going to just see some sideways trading, and then potentially we could break through, you know, $3,900. The best one to pay attention to right now is Ethereum. I'm actually very impressed and shocked by what Ethereum decided to do. We were discussing that we found some uptrend on Ethereum's daily, and then unfortunately we broke bearish through that, and we thought, you know, a lot of you guys thought it was going to be the end of Ethereum's rally and we were going to fall back down lower. It actually didn't do that, and I did say in a couple of videos that we're looking for the candle, if we did break bearish from it, to potentially consolidate back up and move back into the uptrend, and that's pretty much what we did. You can see we had yesterday's candle, we shot all the way back up, we closed the candle above the uptrend, and now we started a new candle today, and we're continuing to grow upwards. So it's a beautiful uptrend right now. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful uptrend. Really, really, really good things with Ethereum right now. We started at 82, currently at 140. That's a $60 profit right there per coin. That's huge. There's going to be some resistance at 160, so that's going to be the biggest barrier that Ethereum's going to face. We're going to see what happens when we get there. A couple of things are going to definitely suppress Ethereum's token, though. You know, this high-low MMA creeping up, the resistance at 160, it's going to be interesting. We may, you know, bounce off of that and fall semi-lower, but we're going to have to, you know, figure it out and see when we get there. But I do think we're going to head up to, you know, add at least $20 more to Ethereum's price. Lastly, checking out XLM really quick to wrap up today's episode. You guys can see that we're pretty much consolidating in between this channel that I have drawn, where there is some sort of resistance up at the top here, but a support right here at the bottom. So we may just consolidate out a little bit further. What we're really looking for in XLM to sum things up is to build up enough volume in order for this coin to get back in track. As you guys can see, there definitely is some sort of symmetrical triangle forming. You can see right here, we've tracked it for quite a bit now. You can see we have the resistance at the top, the support at the bottom, but just recently we broke bearish from that, and it's kind of been a negative on the market, or on XLM's price. We've been having a lot of trouble getting back up into the uptrend. It is acting as a resistance right now. So what we're really looking for this coin to do is to build up enough pressure to blow us back into, you know, the uptrend. We do have plenty of room. You know, it's actually trading the lowest right now on the daily at only at 40 on its RSI, so it could give it enough potential to put us back in above the uptrend, above this yellow line of support here. You know, it's going to be semi-difficult with the market trading as it is, and you can see it's hitting some resistance right over here where we've had, you know, back in early September. So it's going to face some issues. It's having some issues, but you can see it's holding fairly well. A lot of consolidation, a lot of congestion right there, but with enough pressure and volume, we could potentially break up back into here. We could see another rally up to here, if not even higher. But otherwise, that's going to sum up today's episode. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up if you like the content, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode.